Let me guess, you signed up for every free lead magnet and binged on every marketing YouTube video and thought, what am I missing? Why isn't my business exploding like that? Well, I can tell you, you're not alone. Whether you're just getting started or have an established business, entrepreneurship can be really lonely, but it doesn't have to be. Overcoming your fear of launching or building your personal brand or figuring out how to scale, it shouldn't be holding you back. It should be empowering you. On this podcast, we're going to deep dive into the mechanics of what it takes to build your brand, make your mark, and stake your claim in the digital marketing space. I'll be chatting with people from all walks of life and stages in their careers. I will be getting inspiration from real experts who will share their actual strategies and techniques to grow loyal and raving followings and sell more stuff. This is entrepreneurship from people who are already there making it happen. My name is Jeff Mendelson. Join me and welcome to the One Big Tip podcast. Okay, what is good, people? Welcome back. This is the One Big Tip podcast. My name is Jeff Mendelson, and today I'm speaking with Courtney Tarrant, the founder and CEO of Courtney Tarrant Media.
Hey.
Courtney is a leading Facebook ads expert who has managed over $2 million in ad spend and helped grow brands from 6 figures to 7 figures and beyond. She has extensive knowledge in the world of Facebook and Instagram paid advertising and works with many successful e-commerce stores and online entrepreneurs to help them scale and grow their businesses beyond their wildest dreams.
So I've always been inside of marketing, and I started running Facebook ads actually in 2012 for a startup company out of Silicon Valley that was in East Texas for this long reason. But anyway, they were like, you're a millennial. Facebook has started doing paid stuff. So you know how to do that. You know how to post
pictures of cats.
Right? You're good. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And so I started running Facebook ads kind of at the very beginning of when that was a thing. And then moved overseas. And when I came back to East Texas. And the thing that I had built my career in, which is marketing, is not a thing here. And so I decided I was going to make it a thing. I was going to build it on my own. And I started my business in 2015. I got most of my clients out of Houston and Dallas, and slowly but surely have just built up a national and even international presence. None of my clients are locally. And really, I tried doing lots of different things, right? As you try to find your niche, I did organic social media marketing, and I did lots of LinkedIn stuff. And I was just kind of all over the place until I really found out I'm super great at Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And B, I think that there is a need. There are people out there that want so badly to just be served in one way and be served really well. And that's what I really want to do. I want to serve my clients in a big way. And so the best way that I knew how to do that was to focus in on Facebook and Instagram ads and try to find a way to help those people that need that kind of support. There are totally lots of wonderful people that have great big agencies, and I thought about building one of those, but that just doesn't fit with who I want to be or where I want to go. And so that is how Courtney Tarrant, Facebook ads expert, was born.
So it sounds like you want to be a big fish in a really small pond.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think beyond being a big fish in a small pond, I really want to be a contributor to this one thing. I don't need to be the guru. I don't need to be the only person that knows anything about Facebook ads. But I really want to niche down and focus and be able to just provide that high level of service and ultimately produce great results. And what I was experiencing was that if I spread myself too thin, I wasn't able to do that. So that's kind of how I started focusing down.
What would you say is the best piece of advice that you could give a business owner right now that wants to get started on Facebook ads, definitely has the budget to do it? Because if you don't have the budget to do it, please don't, right?
Preach. Yes, totally.
And then what would you say would be the biggest, would be the best way for someone like that to get started? And at what point would they think about hiring someone like yourself?
Yeah. So I think the very best place to get started with any campaign is always inside of retargeting. So that is getting back in front of people who have been on your site already. Those are your hottest leads. This is like getting on the phone with somebody and then seeing them the next day at a coffee shop, right? Like you are where they are. And so it's sort of, you fit into their life in that way. That's going to be your most profitable audience. And that's a really great place to start and see a great return, which is what is so important when we're talking about Facebook ads, is a return on your investment. Reach is great. Branding is great. But ultimately, if we're not increasing your revenue, then like, what are we doing here, right?
What is the point?
Exactly. So that's a very first place that I encourage everybody to start. Make sure you have a pixel installed on your website. Make sure that you are retargeting that audience. If you are an e-commerce store with some kind of offer, and if you're a service provider, like, let's get them on the phone. They're obviously interested. They're on your site for a reason. And then I think when you'll be ready to scale when you have multiple campaigns going and you're checking in on them once a week and you're seeing really inconsistent results. That tells me that you're capable of doing great things. It just needs a little bit more TLC. And that's when I always suggest at least talking to an expert and somebody that you trust and that you know will guide you in the right way and isn't just going to say, yep, I can do this for you and take your money just to take it, but is really going to look at what you're doing and say, yes, I think you can be profitable, or here's where I think your issue is, and here's what I would ask for you to do before you hire somebody. And that's something I always take with anybody that I talk to, is like a stance of, let's make sure that getting into this, we know you can be profitable. We know that this is going to do well. And there's all these like sort of stats and metrics that we can look into to tell us about that. But it's when you sort of get to that point of maybe you have like a 5x return one day and the next day you have a 1x return, or 1 week even you're doing really great at like a 3x return and the next week you're 0.75 and you're kind of like all over the place. That to me tells me that your ads aren't getting the attention that they need. And that's when you may need a little bit more support than just kind of doing it yourself. Because as entrepreneurs, we want to do everything ourselves. I get it. I totally get it. But it's always great to know when to ask for help.
So I think one of the interesting things about Facebook ads is that it's not just slap an ad on the screen and they will come. What is your process for the off Facebook stuff, right? Because it's one thing to create the ad, to find the awesome picture, to write the top description and the caption on the bottom, and make sure that gets placed in the right areas. But once they click on it, do you have a favored mode of delivery? For example, carousel ads, video ads?
I do. I love video ads. Video in general, just people are engaging with it at a higher rate. So I always try to at least like a testimonial video ad or a video of a product or like a GIF even. So any type of video content that's moving, we as human beings just have such a lower attention span than like we did even 5-10 years ago. And so anything that'll just kind of like capture their attention, I call it Project Stop the Scroll. So you got to just like, they're scrolling along and you have to get them to stop and look at what you're doing before they're even going to read the copy or think about clicking, right? So that piece of creative is so, so important. And anything that's really different, I think, is another thing. I always say inside of my agency, everything's worth testing. So like, you may not like this idea of chopping this image up into a million pieces, but like, it might work. So like, let's test it. Let's try everything. Let's throw everything at it until you find, and that's the secret, I think, to finding the thing that works, is everything's worth testing. Don't dismiss an idea because you don't like it. You are not the consumer. So let's put it out there and see what the consumer ultimately has to say about it,
So after you create these ads, how much involvement do you have on the website development or the landing page development? Like, it's not always using their website. You can send them to lead pages, you can send them to ClickFunnels or however that is. How do you and your agency work with the next step after Facebook?
Yeah. So we have our stats that we follow because of the pixel, right? The pixel is tracking all of this data. So we kind of look at the different phases of the funnel. So from Facebook to the website, how is that converting? Are people clicking through? Okay. Once they get there, then what are they doing? Are they, for example, let's say e-commerce, are they adding to cart? Okay. They are adding to cart, but then for some reason they're not purchasing. okay, let's go into the website and let's follow this through and let's see, why might they not be purchasing here? I had a client recently that we did this with, and we realized when they pressed add to cart, it was that little teeny tiny shopping bag in the corner had a little one that would pop up, but that was it. So you sort of had to like search to go find your cart. And whenever we made that cart actually pop up with a, here's your cart, do you want to check out? That increased conversion rates by, I think it was like 80% in the first 2 days, just by making those little changes. So we audit that process of where is traffic landing and what are they doing once they get there in order to reach our industry standards. We know that when you land on an e-commerce page, about 15% of your traffic should be adding to cart. And out of those people, about 30%, you'll have about a 60% abandoned cart rate. About 30% of them should be purchasing. And if they're not doing that, if that's not the flow that is happening, then there's something going on the site. And so we kind of audit through that process as well. And then have strategic partners and different people that we can reach out to should any big development need to happen. But most of the time, it's usually pretty small fixes. Changing the color of the add to cart button, making sure that the cart actually pops up. Those kinds of things can just really increase your conversion rate. But I hate the concept of, I am only responsible for traffic, right? Yes, as a Facebook advertiser and as an advertiser in general, I am technically only responsible for getting people to your site. But it's so much more than that. And I think that in general, as any advertiser, you should partner with your client and say, if there's an issue, like you and I are going to be on the ground, we're going to figure it out together, and not just abandon them because, well, I did it. But unfortunately, that is the case with so many marketers today that are just, well, I got people to your site, so my job's done. See you later. And that kills ultimately the business owner because they need guidance and they need help. But it also gives them such a sour taste for the advertising industry in general because it seems like we're just a bunch of sharks in the water.
So Courtney, this is all really great information. Thank you so much for sharing. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
You can visit my website, CourtneyTarrant.com, or you can go to Facebook.com/ads with Courtney, and you can find me there. I have a Facebook group, or you can drop just a little comment, and I would love to connect.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
I really appreciate you taking
me.
the time and dropping all these value bombs, and it's been a lot of fun. We'd love to have you back on sometime soon.
I love it. That sounds great.